plan that won't fail. That we would have the feeling of confidence and never have to deal with that anxiety. The last thing we do is ask why. Why did this terrible thing happen? I just had somebody the other day, yesterday was judo practice, and I had a cop ask me, why did this guy do this thing out in Vegas? And that's a profile I know very well, so I was explaining the profile of those type of killers. And then he looked at me and he goes, but why? He wants to know why, because that guy scared him. And every day that he puts on his uniform and goes out on the street, he feels it. And he doesn't want to feel that.
Doesn't want to feel that.
But guess what? My belief is that anything we do that's meaningful will be somewhat uncomfortable. Because it's just part of it.
So part of understanding our humanness is we're not ever going to be completely comfortable and at peace with anything we're necessarily doing, and don't get the idea that that person is, or that I go back to some of our. I remember Paul when we were on this evangelism trip in Haiti, and hopefully I can. He's okay. He knows karate. He could hurt me. And he was nervous. I was nervous, and here you are doing something that's completely out of your comfort zone. And yet, I think the testimony back would be, you know what? We were weak, but God demonstrated strength because we simply chose to walk into it. Now, in some ways, once we got in the truck, we didn't have any choice because we were 2.5 hours out in the middle of nowhere. I have no clue how to get back, kind of a thing. So you were there, and you were able to do it.
I asked a Navy SEAL once. I met this Navy SEAL, and he had only been home a couple months. And we were talking about his military experience, and all of my friends, when I was in high school, I had buddies that we were all drafted, and some of us went, some of us didn't. So I was talking with him about his military experience, and I asked him, when he would fly out on those big, they had Chinooks, those big double-bladed Chinooks. And I said, you're flying out, and you're 30 minutes away from the rope dropping, and your boots hit the ground, and people are going to be put in the ground. Could be you, could be them. What's in your head? What are you and your team doing? He said, we have a name for it. I said, what? He said, it's called getting dialed in. And we look at each other and we say, dial in. And what that means is practice the plan in your head. Because when your boots hit the ground, he had this really cool watch. And he said, we all synchronize that watch, and at different times, you're to be at different places and had different parts of your job done. So all the way in, all you do is practice your plan. So I said, what does that feel like? He says, well, we're all keyed up. We're all nervous. We're all keyed up. But we're all just there with each other, physically holding each other, touching, and just there's this very connected feel of the team supporting one another, much like you saw Teddy Atlas putting his arm around Mike Tyson like he was a little child when he was crying. But there's this big supportive unit constantly practicing the plan. So it was fascinating to me that they had practiced this idea that we focused on the solution, we focused on what's important, we focused on, think of it this way, my mind has a choice. I can focus on the risk I'm taking, or bottom line, I can focus on what matters to me. And if I focus on what matters to me, then I can make room and accept the anxiety that's kind of going along for the ride. But the bottom line is, are you willing? To me, willingness becomes the core word for my pain patients and for athletes. Are you willing to experience what's necessary to get here?
To get there.
Your hip replacement. Are you willing? My PT is right next to my door for the physical therapy department. They're Nazis back there. I mean, it's unbelievable.
They are, they're mean.
Oh, my goodness. So my patients are with me, and then they leave my office, and I walk them back to PT, and the question is, and they have these permanent, all my patients are chronic pain patients. They'll never, never, never not have pain. If you want your life back, the question is, what are you willing to do to get your life back? And if you're willing to have something uncomfortable, if you're willing to do this, I can help you get part of your life back. I don't know how much. Matter of fact, nobody does. The surgeon doesn't know. I don't know. PT doesn't know. Nobody knows how much your life can get back with. But I tell you what we got to do. You have to be willing to accept pain's going to be part of it. You have to be willing to focus on what matters to you. Why are you willing to have this pain? Because I want something that's that important to me. And when we think about sharing Christ with other people, it's because their life is that important to me. Is their struggle, is their soul, is their life so important to me that I'm willing to be somewhat uncomfortable and stammer and not do this perfectly. I'm not going to sound like Pastor Raker when I do this. I'm not going to sound like him. I'm not that good. But I got a story. It's weird and bizarre and crazy, but I got a story. And my story is I've met Jesus, and he shows up in my life, and this is the bizarre things that happen. And if I focus on that I care enough about you, I'm willing to do that. And so to me, it's not about the anxiety. It's more about willingness. It's more about accepting that, yeah, I'm taking a risk, and my uncomfortable
Well, and it's
part of it.
owning that risk of
Yeah.
and the anxiety. So, man, we could go all day, and we've already gone a little bit
Sorry.
long. Well, no, you and I, he and I talk, and we're like, oh, we're good enough at this. We can keep going. I was really hoping you were going to bring something like, yes, there is that place where you have no anxiety and you're totally comfortable and you're not going to be nervous, but you're not.
There's
you're not,
that place. You're
well,
dead.
yeah. He once told me when you're setting goals, make sure you set goals don't set dead people goals.
Right. Something that
Set
a dead person
a
can do
goal
better than you.
that a dead person isn't better than you. You know, like be totally at peace and
Right.
and at rest. Well,
Right.
yeah, a dead person can do that.
He does that well.
What can you do? You know, so that's a whole different different deal. So, wow, thanks for sharing with us. Appreciate every time we get together. Oh, yeah, trip over all that. So, just a couple of quick announcements. Jeffrey, how we doing back there on? We got any fun little announcements back there? So new computer operator back there. So in just a few minutes, we'll if you brought some candy and go take your car in the back there, and we'll do a little trunk or treat with the kids, and that'll be awesome to be able to do and have some fun back there. Anything else? Yeah. All right. Keep me going. I follow you. So Saturday the 4th, the ladies are getting together. Do a little paint day project out in the lobby. So there's a way to sign up for that. See the hip girl, and also in the scoop there was a link for that, but she can get you that as well. If you're not getting our scoop email, the newsletter means you're not in our database yet, and either that's our fault or we don't have an email address. So make sure we've got that. And Saturday night, the 4th, bonfire, teenagers, families, just going to have a fun night, 7 p.m., come have bonfire and games and hang out. So It'll be a great weekend to do some stuff. So let's stand and sing ourselves out.